Well, it's Jeff Downs, and I'm back with a little bit more streaking news. That's right, in the streaking news, we've got a fantastic new article that we found the other day. Actually, we were up at a Michigan Lean Consortium, and one of the individuals up there forwarded to me an article on some new science that's been done behind hot streaks in careers. And we thought this was rather interesting because when Jamie and I were speaking up at the Michigan Lean Consortium, we were talking about how in all the streaks that we've studied, we've really only looked at and seen sports streaks or athletic streaks, because that's where really all the records are kept. And so someone else obviously had a question as well. This article comes out of the Wall Street Journal, and it's by Dashun Wang. And I wanted to read this to you because it's rather interesting what they came up with in hot streaks. Now, in streaking, what we're trying to do obviously is be consistent in a very small thing for as long as possible. But that consistency built over time really does build into what they're defining here as a hot streak, or what we look at as a winning streak. So he says this: hot streaks are a familiar phenomenon in sports. Athletes often have stretches where they perform well above the norm for their career, sometimes spectacularly so. But what about the non-athletes? Do people in other fields have hot streaks in their careers? New research my colleagues and I conducted into the careers of about 30,000 artists, film directors, and scientists suggests that the answer is yes, at least for those careers. And it's likely that hot streaks occur in other creative, innovative professions like music and entrepreneurship. These hot streaks tend to last for 4 or 5 years, and some people have more than one. We also found that a hot streak can happen at any point, even in the final years of a career, contradicting the conventional view that people in many fields are likely to do their best work in their 30s or 40s. Late enough for them to have built up a solid base of experience, but early enough for them to still have the energy required to sustain high productivity. That suggests that although older people are less likely to produce breakthroughs than their younger counterparts, this isn't because age and creativity are intertwined. It's simply because not enough people keep plugging along late in their careers. And I want to just emphasize that one more time. It's simply because not enough people keep plugging along late in their careers. Remember, the whole idea behind streaking is to set up something simple that you keep a record of and you share as a community in order to keep you going. It's the consistent consecutive streak that allows you to set up the hot streak, that allows you to get to the place where you want to be. Writing a sentence a day gets you to publishing papers and books and articles and paragraphs and everything else. Being able to, read a paragraph in a nonfiction book daily. That's something that keeps you fresh on professional journals or business books or any area of emphasis or professionalism that you choose to do. A consistent, solid, or being part of the streaking community allows you to set up a base of consecutive streaks that really keeps you going. Okay, back to the article. So it just says, simply because not enough people keep plugging along late in their careers. If we keep producing, our own hot streak may still be ahead, just out of sight. In the research, which I conducted with my student, Lu Li, and other collaborators, we used the auction prices of artists' works, the IMDb.com ratings of directors, films, and the number of citations of scientists' published work as measures of quality and impact. We summarized our insights in a paper recently published in the journal Nature. For each field we studied, about 90% of individuals had at least one hot streak, defined as high-impact works clustered together in sequence. Director Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings series represented a hot streak, as did George Lucas' early Star Wars films. Other notable hot streaks included Albert Einstein's miracle year of 1905, which included the unveiling of his famous E equals MC equation. The drip period for painter Jackson Pollock, and the period following Vincent van Gogh's move to the south of France in 1888, when he produced renowned works including Starry Night over the Rhone and The Yellow House. The timing of hot streaks is random, but one surprise in our research was that hot streaks weren't associated with greater productivity. People don't produce more during hot streaks, but what they create is substantially better than their remaining body of work. Our research is only the beginning. As more data on individual careers becomes available, it may help us identify the drivers and triggers for hot streaks, which would then help us answer a range of new questions. For example, can we anticipate the start and end of a hot streak? Can we create an environment to facilitate and promote the onset of a hot streak and to extend it when it emerges? I'm saying to you right now, in those two questions, absolutely yes. I think that's the beauty behind streaking is it's not about, it's basically like building a wave. When you are streaking, when you're doing something consistently, and remember, it's this small, laughably simple thing that you're doing consistently, daily and consecutively, that begins and builds the momentum to maintain or to even work up to a hot streak. When I was looking at Cal Ripken Jr. and looking at his hot streak, if you will, of 16 years, where he had 2,632 consecutive games, that is all about what he did to prepare for that, which was on a consistent, regular basis, have a physical fitness routine that was consistent and daily, a diet that was consistent and daily, his studies, which were consistent and daily. All of these small streaks, these things that he kept track of, and didn't even do consciously, but just did it, that allowed him then to set up a consecutive, if you will, winning streak or hot streak of playing 16 years of baseball. Now that's absolutely fantastic. And of course that's over into sports, but I look at it in any area or field or endeavor. I mean, especially with this article, think about what you can do as you set up your streaks, whether they be professional or personal, whether they be intellectual, spiritual, emotional, or physical. Any of those streaks are available, and absolutely, even though, do I have the science yet? No, I have 3 years of research that Jamie and I have done to look at it and to make it happen. We don't have the scientific data, but we have a little bit of the anecdotal data that says absolutely you can set up a streak that allows you to get to a better quality of work. And notice that it didn't say that you were more productive. I don't know exactly what he's talking about as far as more productive, but the quality of work. The thing that we look at, and maybe productivity means the amount of work that you're producing, but they don't produce more during hot streaks, but what they create is substantially better. I think that substantive production is significant, and it's set up by a whole bunch of little tiny streaks that keep you consistent and going toward that mark that you want to reach. For someone who has had a hot streak, can we treat it as an indication of their potential and think of ways to help them realize that potential again? And I think absolutely. And this is the end of the article. At this point, the only certainty is this. A sure way to prevent a hot streak is to stop producing altogether. I, for one, look forward to the day when my hot streak arrives. So that's Dr. Wang, and he wrote this article, Dr. Darshan Wang, and I actually downloaded the actual scientific results itself, and looking into it, it's quite fascinating what they did as far as the math and some of the statistics behind it that they were doing to really look into the hot streaks. As you look at streaking, remember the streaking rules, the streaking laws, and they are they are three simple ones. One, on whatever you choose to streak. In other words, if you're looking to improve in any particular way, let's say, for example, you're looking at your profession as a computer programmer, and you want to continue to improve in that. You may choose to read one paragraph of a professional journal daily. Well, that means you obviously will have to subscribe to it and other things, but just think what that does over 365 days, because you don't only leave it at one paragraph. Most of the time, you'll read a lot more. Or think if you want to learn a new language. I'm going to study one vocabulary word in a foreign language daily. It seems so simple that it wouldn't make a difference. I'm here to tell you right now that there's many, many people who have done just this and had wild success. When you look at streaking and putting streaking into your life and into your career, it gives you a consistent level of success that keeps you moving forward. And that's really what it's about. That's why I think that, can you set up a hot streak? Absolutely. Make it laughably simple. Keep a record. No record, no streak. And finally, create a community. There's a lot more we could talk about with this, but until that time comes, that's the end of this podcast. This is Jeff Downs. Keep smiling.